Hi, I'm Brett Lonsdale. I'm a Microsoft MVP here in the UK, and I'm stood in the National Museum of Computing at Bletchley Park. We're here today to talk to Jacqui. We're going to learn all about the bombe from Alan Turing, Colossus, and the significance of those machines during the wartime, and also how you can get involved in the National Museum of Computing, and that's our heritage here in the UK. I just wanted to, first of all, just sort of express why I'm involved in this interview, and that is that as a Microsoft MVP around about, I guess it's 3 or 4 years ago now, the MVP lead in the UK invited you to come and present to us about some challenges that you were facing with the museum during the COVID times and the lockdown and so
Absolutely.
on. Can you tell us just a brief bit about that?
I don't know why I chuckle actually, but so Claire, I knew Claire from a few years back. She'd had a big event for you guys, for the MVPs. A really good community day actually, it was awesome. Everyone was sort of buzzing and loving the fact that we had so much history around. And there was a few of you that reached out. When Claire said, come and join this call, I was nervous because there was this huge group of people with their own businesses, you know, changing the world. And then they suddenly had me sort of saying, can you help me? And then I think from the first day that I met you, you just haven't stopped. You constantly are promoting and pushing and introducing us to stuff and people that is just, well, I couldn't say thank you enough really.
Well, thank you, Jacqui, for everything that you do as well. And I think, you know, the museum itself is one thing. We've got amazing one-off machines like the Colossus that we have here behind us. We've also got the Alan Turing bombe, and we can walk through the museum all the way up to the present day. Some of it is a little bit scary when you see that there's certain things that I had that are in a museum. I'm sure you've not heard that one before, but it's true. But it's incredible to see what's going on here, but also some of the things that you get involved in. There's tell me a little bit about the education that you provide.
So with the museum, I think everybody that walks through the door has the opportunity to be educated or inspired. But actually, I have to say, through the education program, we have, you know, from primary all the way up to PhD, but also people like yourself in industry. So it keeps going and going. It's not about just preserving the past; it's powering the future. And I think things like that program is exactly what it was meant to do, and that's happening, you know, right before our eyes. And these kids are just leaving knowing that they can, or they will, and they could be the next, you know, Tommy Flowers or, you know, Ada Lovelace or whatever.
Jacqui, the museum is here on Bletchley Park, and when you drive into Bletchley Park itself, it's amazing to see, you know, a lot of recently restored buildings and so on. But the National Museum of Computing is a separate entity to all of that. It doesn't have access to the same funding and so on.
Nope.
Could you just tell us about, you know, the museum, the current state of it, what's needed?
Where do I start? So within Block H, which is the building that we're in right now, which is the world's first purpose-built data centre and houses this immersive collection of over 7 decades of computing. We're okay inside, but the external is pretty poor. If I look up there, the roof's leaking, and we're in the Colossus gallery. It's not the only part of the roof that's leaking.
In terms of fundraising and so on, how can people get involved, and what's the timelines involved? What do we need to do here?
So the timeline, in the ambitious world that I live in, we would start this project in January. We would replace the roof, and we would then damp-proof and paint the building and do various other internal works to basically offer a better visitor experience and increase our visitor numbers. Not just for education, but for general visitors, but also for things like the collabs days that we've hosted for you, to bring 120 people into this museum at one point. It's absolutely buzzing. It's what keeps our volunteers going. It gives us meaning. And actually, I feel like people then realise the digital origins of computing and how their businesses started.
All of the proceeds from that event go to the museum for you to help with the maintenance, to help with the education of the children in IT and so on. And this is actually something that if you're a Microsoft partner or any other technology industry organisation, you could also get involved in that event as a sponsor as well. So it is running next September, and then it's a win-win. It's not just a donation, but it's also somewhere where you can come and exhibit to a crowd of 120 people that are looking to learn Microsoft 365 as well. So,
well, that's the thing. I think you found us, which was great. And actually, I think once we've had the events with you, we've also got generous donations or leads through that. But actually, this is the most immersive backdrop you could have for such a team building or a corporate event. They're always exceptional, and I would say to anyone, come and sponsor, because if they realise they can come, benefit their business, their team, their organisation, learn, and also support this wonderful charity, then, as you say, it's win-win.
Also, you've got some larger organisations that are more involved as well.
We have. So we work hard for all of the fundraising efforts. We have a lot to do, and we've been really fortunate that we've actually secured £500,000 from the Post Office Remembrance Fund. It feels quite uncomfortable to say that actually, but we had to raise the additional 150 to match that, and that will give us a new roof over Tunny and Colossus, the expanded welfare facilities. It makes us more accessible. So I would just say to anyone, if you can give, if you can speak to your boss, if you can donate, if you can book a corporate visit, come as a general visitor, every one of those activities will help us reach the target.
That's fantastic. Well, I really hope that we can do it. And yeah, if you're watching this and you can share it, then that would be absolutely fantastic. But,
Please give generously.
Thank you, Jacqui.